Why $5 million Bitcoin is possible. Hey crypto enthusiasts, get ready for an electrifying ride as we delve into the captivating world of Bitcoin. In today's video, we're diving deep into a mind-blowing scenario. The possibility of Bitcoin hitting a staggering $5 million. This isn't just a wild dream. We've got insights, forecasts, and all the juicy details to unpack. Before we embark on this journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the potential future where Bitcoin reaches unprecedented heights. Buckle up, it's about to get exciting. What it will take to raise Bitcoin to a 5 million mark. So, when contemplating the notion of Bitcoin soaring to a jaw-dropping $5 million per coin, we're venturing into uncharted territories. A crypto landscape is influenced by various factors, market dynamics, and global trends. The detailed analysis involves scrutinizing Bitcoin's historical performance, technological advancements, adoption rates, and regulatory developments. It's like dissecting the intricate layers of a crypto puzzle. Presently, Bitcoin is oscillating around the $60,000 range, but hitting that $5 million target seems like an ambitious leap, a whopping 8,000% increase. Now, let's crunch the numbers. With roughly 19.4 million Bitcoin tokens currently in circulation out of a potential maximum of 21 million, achieving the $5 million price tag would propel the total market value to an astronomical $97 trillion. To put things in perspective, the total value of all the gold in the world is around $10 trillion, and the US gross domestic product reached an all-time high of $25 trillion last year, contributing to the colossal $104 trillion global economy. Consider this. The combined value of cash and consumer-grade cash equivalents like checking and savings accounts amounts to roughly $83 trillion. The only financial figure that makes $100 trillion seem relatively small is the colossal $300 trillion of global debt, encompassing the national debts of every country. In essence, for Bitcoin to reach these unprecedented heights, it would need to establish itself as the predominant currency for a substantial portion of the global economy. This implies a monumental economic revolution on a worldwide scale, potentially involving political unrest and, dare we say it, even wars along the way. What stands in the way? Spoiler alert, there's no express route, but there might be some cunning detours into that territory. Our journey begins with Bitcoin, the father of cryptocurrencies, flexing its muscles against the inflation-ridden US dollar. Over the past year, it has clocked a substantial gain. A 180% surge in 3 years and an impressive quadrupling since June 2018. Roll back the clock to the summer of 2015, and the gain becomes mind-boggling, a staggering 10,500%. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If Bitcoin manages to maintain its compound average growth rate, or CAGR, from the past 8 years, we're looking at a potential $5 million per coin in roughly 9 years. Hold your horses, though. That's a far-fetched scenario. Achieving monumental annual gains is a bit more straightforward when you're kicking off from a smaller financial platform and a lower price point. Think back to June 2015, when Bitcoin sported a modest $248 price tag and a $3.5 billion market cap. So, while the road to $5 million per Bitcoin isn't a straightforward highway, there might be some strategic shortcuts worth exploring. Let's talk about compound annual growth rate, or CAGR. Even if we consider a somewhat improbable 35% CAGR, it would still take around 18 years to hit the $5 million milestone. The endgame is Bitcoin standing tall as the sole currency on Earth that truly matters in a practical sense. Now, let's tweak the calculation a bit by factoring in inflation. Here's where Bitcoin showcases its resilience. With a lifetime cap of 21 million coins, it remains largely immune to inflation, allowing only an 8% increase in the token count over the next century or so. Contrast that with the US dollar, which is not impervious to inflation. Monetary policymakers typically target an annual inflation rate of about 2% with occasional fluctuations. Fast forward 18 years, and this inflationary effect could boost the effective dollar value of Bitcoin by roughly 40%. So if your eyes are set on a $5 million cash value in 2041, it translates to a $3.5 million price tag in 2023 dollars. In essence, envision a scenario where Bitcoin could potentially claim half of the global money supply and soar to $5 million per coin. But keep in mind, we're talking about inflation-adjusted dollar values. If America were to experience hyperinflation, a phenomenon witnessed in recent history in places like Yugoslavia in the 1990s, Zimbabwe in 2016, and the ongoing crisis in Venezuela, Bitcoin could find itself at the forefront, commanding a value of $5 million or even more. Sounds like a wild ride, right? But there's a catch. You'd also be shelling out millions of hyperinflated dollars just to grab your everyday essentials like bread and eggs. Sure, Bitcoin's immunity to inflation is a significant selling point for the cryptocurrency, offering a hedge against economic uncertainties. However, let's be real. No one is rooting for or expecting this ultra-gloomy future to unfold. In the grand scheme of things, the likelihood of hyperinflation turning Bitcoin into a multi-million-dollar asset seems like a distant and extreme scenario. Michael Saylor. But what do prominent figures in the crypto space have to say about this? Let's dive into the world of Bitcoin prophecies with none other than Michael Saylor, the ex-CEO of MicroStrategy Inc. This guy is not only one of the loudest Bitcoin advocates out there, but he's also stirring up some controversy with his latest forecast. Bitcoin hitting a jaw-dropping $5 million per unit. So what's the scoop? Saylor has laid out 3 potential catalysts that he believes could propel Bitcoin to this astronomical price point. Now, if we do the math and imagine one Bitcoin priced at $5 million, that would give Bitcoin a fully diluted market cap of a mind-boggling $105 trillion. Let that sink in. That's 4.5 times higher than the entire GDP of the United States in 2021, which, let's be honest, sounds like a stretch. But hold on, Saylor is standing firm on this prediction. And why wouldn't he? MicroStrategy, the company he used to helm, is often dubbed an informal spot Bitcoin ETF thanks to its significant exposure to the leading cryptocurrency. Get this, MicroStrategy reportedly holds a whopping 158,400 Bitcoin valued at a jaw-dropping $5.5 billion. Now that's around 0.8% of the current circulating supply of Bitcoin. Under the leadership of Saylor, MicroStrategy stands to reap massive benefits if Bitcoin decides to go on a wild surge. Whether it's driven by fundamental reasons or simply a positive speculative sentiment sparked by Saylor's bullish forecast, MicroStrategy could find itself riding high on the cryptocurrency roller coaster. Michael Saylor shared some insight in a recent Twitter Spaces event on November 6th. Shout out to Bitcoin Archive, at BTC_archive, for giving us a sneak peek into the highlights of this talk with Saylor dropping some crypto gems. So what did Saylor spill during this Twitter Spaces session?
So it's going to grind up to replace gold. It'll go to $500,000 a coin, regardless of whether they fix these things. But there are 3 things that are massive catalysts that cause an acceleration. And I don't think that those 3 things don't take us to 500,000. They take us to 5 million a coin, right? Those 3 things are a spot ETF where someone can go ahead and buy $100 million of Bitcoin, buy a security, an ETF security. I think that's 1. 2 is your bank is going to custody it for you and lend against it. And 3 is I can mark it up or mark it down on my balance sheet based on fair value.
Let's give a brief explanation of what this guy's trying to say. First up, imagine a world where we have a spot ETF allowing someone to easily snag $100 million worth of Bitcoin through an ETF security. That's like a one-stop shop for big-time Bitcoin purchases, revolutionizing the way institutions get into the crypto game. Next is the idea of your bank becoming your Bitcoin guardian, offering custody services and even letting you lend against your precious crypto holdings. Talk about merging traditional finance with the brave new world of cryptocurrencies. Last, but certainly not least, Saylor dropped a bombshell: the ability to mark up or mark down Bitcoin on a balance sheet based on its fair value. This could shake up financial reporting and valuation strategies, adding a whole new layer to the way we perceive and account for Bitcoin. ChatGPT. ChatGPT seems like the oracle of Delphis today. Let's dive into the world of futuristic Bitcoin forecasts, courtesy of none other than our AI buddy ChatGPT. So what does the AI have to say? ChatGPT is stirring up the pot with a bold claim. Bitcoin could potentially hit a whopping $5 million in the year 2050. Now, before you get too excited, let's remember that even though AI is making waves in practically every field, predicting prices is still a bit like navigating uncharted waters. But here's the twist. Despite ChatGPT playing coy in the past about Bitcoin forecasts, it seems like the AI has finally spilt the beans. According to this latest insight, Bitcoin's base price is set at a cool $20,000, ensuring that even in the worst-case scenario, it won't nosedive below that threshold. It can go higher though, which it certainly has. Bitcoin recorded a new all-time high on March 5th, soaring over $69,000. No doubt Mike Saylor is dancing. Wrap up. While the crypto market is known for its volatility, the immediate likelihood of Bitcoin hitting the $5 million mark appears slim. Various experts suggest that such a surge would require significant shifts in market dynamics, widespread adoption, and perhaps even unforeseen catalysts. So, while the dream of a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin is not entirely far-fetched, it's essential to temper expectations and acknowledge that the journey to such astronomical prices may be a marathon rather than a sprint. But of course, it's possible. Don't fade.